Hey everybody, it is a Wednesday, April 22nd, and it is hot, 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 at least for me. I am at home and my air conditioning has broke, and so I am going to be sweating possibly through this video as I have a hot light just right up above there, and so that you can get a good view. And yeah, so this is going to be a hot one. Speaking of hot one, there is a lot of companies and a lot of banks that are in hot water right now. As you know, round one of the Paycheck Protection Program has been dried up. The funding has been already taken. I have a list. I have two lists, one from Reddit and one from CNBC, that I will link in the description below. And it has lists of companies that have received the or the Paycheck Protection Program loan, and that are significant corporations of very high market cap value. And so, of the $349 billion that were allocated for the PPP, it's all gone. Now, hundreds of millions of dollars have already been claimed by large publicly traded companies. For instance, there's two pharmaceutical companies that are totaling a market cap of $559 million that received $7.2 million and $4.9 million each. Companies like Fiesta Restaurant Group, which is the parent company of restaurants like Taco Cabana, they received $10 million and they have a market cap of $189 million. Quantum Corporation, you probably know them for, especially in the computer industry, for making digital storage like LaCie hard drives. They have about 800 employees and they receive $10 million, which equates to roughly $12,000 per employee. I don't know if you know this, but this is about 10 times the amount per employee that they're getting compared to other companies. There's also companies like New Age Beverage, which owns all of Nestea products, as well as some other brands. They received $6.9 million. There's also Ruth Chris's, I'm sorry, you're hearing that, but there's also Ruth's Hospitality Group, which is, they own all the Ruth Chris steakhouses. They received $20 million. So, of all the approved loans, 4,400 of them were with companies that exceeded $5 million in annual budget, which resulted in a typical loan size being about $206,000. Most small businesses were trying to only get a fraction of that. They're trying to get tens of thousands of dollars. So how did this happen? Was this the bank's fault? Maybe. Take an example. JP Morgan Chase. They provided loans to they provided loans that were part of this PPP program. And lo and behold, virtually all of its commercial banking customers that sought financial loans through this small business relief fund got approved. But the lender, that's JP Morgan Chase, their smallest customers were almost entirely shut out. More than 300,000 customers of JP Morgan business banking unit, which serves smaller firms, applied for loans through the PPP program, and only 6% were funded. By comparison, 5,500 of their larger customers in their commercial banking business applied, and nearly all of them got loans. So why was that the case? Did the banks favor the large business customers? I don't know. Not really, I don't think. See, the thing is, JP Morgan has given 26,000 loans to small businesses, with more than 60% of those going to companies with fewer than 25 people. But why are there so many more success stories of big companies getting it than little companies? And why is the percentage so skewed? You know, even if it's more small companies than are big companies, the ratios are skewed. And so the question is, why is this the case? I think it's more complicated than that, because here's the thing. With cases like JP Morgan, they have different departments handling the commercial customers with other small businesses. And most of the commercial business department is handling fewer clients, and they're able to process those applications faster. Also, another factor that's involved is that many of these larger corporations had lawyers and accountants help to fill out their paperwork, which helps them get the applications completed and filed early, and they were doing it correctly. So all of these are factors that lead into this problem where all these small businesses were denied versus all these large businesses had obtained these loans. Now, are the small businesses now these small businesses, I think they need this money much more than these large businesses in order to survive. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not talking about any of that. It's not about fairness. It's not about any of that. Just the fact that, do they need it to survive? So how are we to solve this? What's the problem? I think the pondering part is this. Is this result because of the process and us having the best possible way that we can do it right now? This is the best possible way that we know how to do things right now. And so there's pitfalls, or is there some corruption and there's things that are going on? I think there could be a little bit of both. And one thing you have to think about is that not everything is black and white. Not everything is as simple as, oh, that's all corrupt or that's all fair and that's all, good. You can't make those claims. I think there's a little bit of both in this situation. I think there's a part of it that the system just makes it that way, right? If you have less clientele, you can be more hands-on with those clientele and you can help them better. With a system that has more clientele, it's harder for them to get to them, right? So it's just hard. It's just a hard situation in general. Is that a fair situation? How do you define fair? Because a lot of times large corporations have more needs and more specific needs than small clienteles. And so a bank like JP Morgan Chase needs to invest more resources into helping and supporting those big corporations. So what's the best thing to do? I don't know. All I know is this. If you're thinking about it, think about that when you go and you see headlines out there that say unfair, or they say this, do your research and know that this is a complex situation and this requires complex answers. And it's not a simple thing of just painting everything black and white. I love my friend, Nathan Neighbor. He made a post the other day and it had all to do with this either or versus the and conversation. And I think right now we're in a state of our society where we constantly are in this either or mentality. It's either this or it's either that, or and it has to be black or it has to be white. It has to be right or it has to be wrong. It has to be whatever, all these things. And I don't think it's that simple. I think there's just a lot of areas where it might be where yes, the banks could be doing things better and they're already doing things as best as they could. Maybe the program isn't effective and it's as effective as it could be. There's a lot of ands in here, and it's not going to be perfect, but just know that people are not all evil or they're not all good, and the choices and decisions aren't all corrupt, and they're not all, magnanimous decisions. There's just a lot of gray area in between. So keep those in mind, think about it, and I hope this pondering helps you, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.